Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're here, it means you want the shortcut. You want to skip the textbook definitions and just, jump straight to the knowledge that makes you sound completely natural when you speak.
Right. And today, our mission is, I think, one of the most relatable ones we've tackled. We're decoding social fluency.
Social fluency, I like that.
Yeah, we're focused on mastering the English you need for, social gatherings, a little bit of drama, gossip, celebration, all of it.
And to do that, we're taking a really detailed look at a real flowing conversation between friends. We're going to break down every specific word, every phrase to understand why.
Exactly. Why did they choose those particular words to convey emotion or drama or, the resolution of that drama?
This is all application. It's not theory.
And the source material is perfect for this because it centers on such a high-stakes social event.
A wedding.
A wedding. I mean, these events are the perfect place for memorable, expressive language because they mix that formal ceremony with really intense personal drama.
Oh, absolutely. You've got lost rings, unexpected tears, spectacular or not so spectacular dance moves.
Right. This is where fluency really has to shine.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our deep dive today is, I guess, a masterclass in conversational English. We're focusing entirely on how to build and embellish a social story.
And by the time we're through, you won't just know the vocabulary. You'll know the precise context, the emotional weight of each phrase. It's like having a ready-made toolkit for your own social stories.
All right, so to really get into the dialogue, the original source lesson does something pretty smart. It introduces two foundational words first.
Yeah, and these aren't just random vocabulary. They're what I'd call contextual anchors. They set the emotional tone for everything that comes after.
That makes sense because you have to know the register, right?
Yeah.
The level of formality.
Exactly. If the setting is casual, your language changes. But we're dealing with a wedding, so these first two words really establish the gravity of what's being discussed.
So the first anchor word is ceremony. I mean, we all know the basic definition, right? A formal event, a wedding, a graduation. But why do we need to look at this word so deeply?
It's because of the emotional and social weight that's attached to it. When you talk about a ceremony, you're not just talking about a party, you're talking about a cultural milestone.
And the source material points this out. It says, wedding ceremonies are usually very emotional and beautiful.
Right. That expectation of deep emotion is what fuels all the drama and gossip later. If the event is just nice, the stories don't have the same punch.
That's a really key insight. The word ceremony elevates the story. A lost ring at a barbecue is an inconvenience. A lost ring moments before the ceremony. That's a near catastrophe.
Precisely. And the language has to match the seriousness of that setting. The source even gives us that perfect phrase to illustrate the emotional weight.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Yes.
Now that phrase is it's conversational gold. It's an idiom, but its function here is so important. You're using exaggeration. Right, hyperbole, to capture this sweeping universal experience.
Absolutely. The function of there wasn't a dry eye in the house is to signal that the emotion wasn't just strong. It was collective. It was unavoidable.
You don't just say a lot of people cried.
No, you use language that suggests this. This wave of emotion just swept through the whole room. This is the kind of high-impact language you need for powerful social storytelling.
It's efficient. It's shorthand for intensity.
Yeah.
Instead of describing every single person's tears, one phrase paints the whole picture.
And that's the big point. Understanding ceremony isn't just knowing the definition. It's knowing that when you talk about one, you need to pull out your most evocative, emotional language. It sets the stage for the gossip to really land.
Okay, so from that formal setting, we move to the emotional aftermath, the second key word.
Yes. The second crucial word here is relieved. It's defined as feeling happy because something unpleasant has stopped or didn't happen.
And you could argue this is maybe the most essential emotional word in any gossip conversation, because gossip loves a crisis that gets resolved.
That's it exactly. The story isn't just about the tension, it's about the release of that tension. The problem creates the hook, and the feeling of being relieved gives you the payoff.
So,
yeah,
what's the nuance here? I mean, why not just say, I was happy? Why is relieved so much better?
Because happy is too general. Relieved specifically isolates the joy that comes from avoiding a bad outcome. You're happy because the lost ring was found or the dress wasn't ruined.
Ah, so it directs the emotion back to the problem that was avoided.
Yes. And using that kind of targeted emotional word is a huge sign of fluency.
And the source material had that great kind of surprising anecdote, finding lost keys.
And the refrigerator.
Right. Which is so memorable because we've all done something like that frantic search, and then this profound, silly sense of release when you find it.
It captures that mix of panic and relief perfectly.
So if you're telling a story about a minor disaster, you have to include the moment of relief. It's the conversational closure. It signals that the tension is over.
And it lets the listener breathe that sigh of relief with you. That shared moment is what creates bonding in a conversation. Using relieved is how you share that emotional journey.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We're moving into the core conversation itself. And what you notice right away is that social storytelling, it follows a clear path.
It's a structured arc, absolutely. It's not random. It starts with high tension, then you get some later moments, a highlight, another small problem, and it all ends with this feeling of success.
And we need to break down the specific language used at each of those steps.
Let's start with the first one, the near disaster.
The lost ring. The conversation hooks you immediately with maximum drama. Karen's sister Sarah lost one of the rings right before the ceremony.
And they were searching everywhere for it. The listener is immediately invested because the stakes feel huge. I mean, no ring, no wedding.
But the resolution is quick and kind of charming. It was found in the flower girl's basket the whole time.
And Sarah's reaction just confirms the stakes. She was so relieved she almost cried.
So the key linguistic nugget here, the phrase the friends use to comment on this is, "That's a close call." Why is that phrase so effective?
I think it's better than just saying, that was lucky, because close call emphasizes how near they were to failure. It implies they were right on the brink of disaster.
You've really hit the right note there. That's a close call is the perfect conversational shortcut. It communicates not just the outcome, but the anxiety that came before it. It's like you're telling the listener, you should feel the tension that we just felt.
It's the go-to phrase for any situation where disaster was narrowly avoided.
But does it work for minor things? Like, could I say it was a close call if I almost missed my bus?
You could, but it works best for things with a real negative consequence. A lost ring ruins the ceremony. Missing a bus is just an inconvenience. A close call implies a potentially big negative outcome was avoided.
So it needs stakes.
It needs stakes. It's all about how serious the consequence feels.
Okay, so after that high tension moment, a good storyteller pivots.
You have to. You can't maintain that level of tension, so the narrative immediately moves to comic relief.
Enter the flower girl. She tripped down the aisle.
It's perfect accidental comedy. She stumbles, but then she recovers with such grace, though everyone laughed.
And that contrast is the key, right? The physical stumble followed by the social success of her recovery.
Yes, and that leads to the conversational outcome. It lightened the mood. This idiom is so important because it shows how humor, even accidental humor, can act as a counterbalance to stress.
Why do we say lightened the mood instead of just, made everyone feel better?
Because mood refers to the collective atmosphere, the shared emotional state of the whole group. To lighten it is to actively remove a feeling of heaviness or seriousness.
Yeah.
It implies a real noticeable shift.
So in a social story, after a moment of tension, you need a phrase like this to signal that the atmosphere has been reset.
It's a structural piece of good storytelling. It makes space for the rest of the celebration.
Right. And every social event needs that centerpiece of achievement, that moment of triumph.
And here, it's Rachel's speech. The description is all about the effect it had. It was so touching, she even made the groom tear up.
Which is pretty much the highest compliment you can give a wedding speech.
For sure. And the analysis in the dialogue is, Rachel always knows how to hit the right notes.
That's such a great idiom. It connects successful communication with, like, a professional skill. It's a musical analogy. Let's unpack that. Why notes?
Well, music depends on harmony, on calibration. When you hit the right notes, you're not just talking. You are perfectly calibrating your words, your tone, your message for that exact audience in that exact moment.
So it's much more sophisticated than just saying she gave a good speech.
Much more. It implies skill, preparation, and sensitivity.
And that's transferable, isn't it? A manager handling a delicate situation can hit the right notes. A politician's speech, it's a really useful fluency builder.
Definitely. It elevates the praise. It implies mastery. You save this phrase for a truly excellent performance.
All right, so no gossip session is complete without the pure entertainment factor. And that brings us to Tom.
Tom's dancing. This part shows how social language needs to be vivid and fast. They describe him as busting out all these crazy moves.
And then the immediate comparison.
Yeah.
It was like a scene from a comedy show.
And then the final judgment, the title.
He's definitely the life of the party.
Right, and that combination is what makes it so powerful. If you just say he was dancing, it's boring. If he was busting out crazy moves, you're painting a picture.
But if you call him the life of the party, you're summarizing his entire social function at that event.
And life of the party means so much more than just fun. It means they're the engine. They're the catalyst for everyone else's good time. They're indispensable.
So if you want to describe someone who's really setting the tone for fun, you need that energetic action phrase.
Busting out.
Combined with that high praise idiom.
Life of the party. One describes the action, the other describes the role. They work together perfectly.
Okay, so the story flows from the dance floor to the dining table. A classic move.
First, the triumph. Emma's cupcakes. They were out of this world and delicious.
And here's one of our key vocabulary words. She really outdid herself. This is such a great compliment because it's personal. It implies she went beyond what was expected, even if expectations were already high.
But again, you can't have a good story that's purely positive, so we move right to the logistical problem.
Yeah.
The mix-up with the catering company.
They almost served the wrong food to the guests. High tension again, but this time it's logistical, not emotional.
You see the structure again. The triumph of Emma's skill is immediately balanced by the failure of the catering company. You need those peaks and valleys.
And in this valley, a hero emerges.
Karen's mom.
Yeah.
She had to step in and fix everything at the last minute. The friends just call her a hero.
But the key linguistic takeaway here, the phrase that resolves all of this food drama is, it all turned out perfect in the end, though.
This is non-negotiable for good social storytelling. If you've just detailed a bunch of problems, you have to provide that closure. And that phrase is the quintessential way to signal a happy ending.
It reframes the problems, doesn't it? They weren't failures. They were just challenges that made for a better story.
It ensures the overall celebratory tone is maintained, despite all the little crises.
So the conversation wraps up with two of the most common elements of gossip: romance and appearances.
Exactly. The first dance was so romantic, and the key phrase is that the couple is head over heels for each other.
Head over heels. It's the perfect signal for that profound, undeniable, passionate kind of love.
And it sets up the next level of gossip, which is speculating about who might be next to tie the knot. Another classic idiom for marriage.
And finally, one last little burst of drama. Poor Maria's dress. It was described as stunning, which makes it even more shocking when she spills red wine on it.
The beauty of this little story is the immediate practical solution.
No.
A stain remover pen. The crisis lasts for maybe 10 seconds.
But it gives us our last critical phrase, crisis averted.
Right. And you might ask, is a wine spill a true crisis?
I was going to ask that. Shouldn't crisis averted be for something bigger, like the lost ring?
That's a great question, and it really speaks to the playful exaggeration in social English. It's not a national emergency, but in the context of a formal ceremony where a stunning dress is part of your social armor, it feels like a crisis to Maria.
I see. So you can use crisis averted for these microdramas as long as the drama feels acute and personal to the person involved.
Exactly. It's concise and emotionally punchy. It heightens the drama playfully.
So we've learned that fluent social conversation is structured. It has peaks, valleys, humor, and always a clear resolution marked by these high-impact phrases.
Now we can pivot from the narrative to the power tools, the specific vocabulary that makes your descriptions vivid.
The three words: outdid, stunning, and mix-up. These are the engine of efficient social talk.
They really are. They let you assign a high value or categorize a problem without a long explanation. Let's start with outdid.
So the definition is to perform better than usual or to surpass previous efforts. We saw it with Emma's baking. She really outdid herself.
And the key nuance is that it's a comparison to the self. You're not just complimenting the cupcakes, you're complimenting the effort and the improvement. If Emma always bakes great cupcakes, you might just say they're delicious.
But if she outdid herself, they were even better than her own high standard.
Exactly. It's an incredibly powerful compliment because it recognizes the person's growth or dedication.
And the source material gave us three really clear contexts for using it.
Right. The first is a performance context. The chef outdid himself with the 5-course meal, going above and beyond.
Then a competitive context. She outdid her classmates by scoring the highest marks, a clear comparison against others.
And finally, a personal achievement context. He outdid his previous record by running the marathon in under 3 hours. That's purely self-referential improvement.
So if you want to compliment someone's exceptional effort, Don't just say good job. Use outdid. It acknowledges they pushed their own boundaries.
Okay, next up is stunning. The definition is extremely impressive or attractive. We saw it with Maria's stunning dress.
Stunning is an amplifier. But how strong is it? Is it stronger than, say, beautiful or gorgeous?
I'd say so, yes. Stunning implies a level of beauty that it makes you pause. It might even give you a little shock. Something beautiful is pleasant to look at. Something stunning grabs your attention.
I wonder if it's a little overused now, though. Has its impact weakened?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
In casual online talk, maybe a little, but in a real social conversation, it still carries a lot of weight. You should save it for things that truly deserve that high visual or experiential impact.
And the source examples show how broad it is. It's not just for fashion.
Right. It can be for natural phenomena. The sunset over the ocean was absolutely stunning.
For artistic talent. Her performance in the concert was stunning.
Or for human creation. The architecture of the ancient cathedral is stunning.
The consistent thing is that the subject is deeply impressive and memorable. It's a very efficient choice for high praise.
And our third word is mix-up, a mistake that causes confusion. This is critical because logistical errors happen all the time.
The catering company had a mix-up with food.
Mix-up is the perfect conversational word for these failures because it's simple and it avoids harsh terms. It implies a fixable organizational mistake. It's less severe than, say, a blunder or a catastrophe.
That's an important distinction. In a casual conversation, why does mix-up work better than error?
Because it's informal. It's a bit dismissive of the seriousness, which lets the storyteller move on to the resolution quickly. It keeps the tone light. Mix-up is casual language for what might be a serious error.
So when you're talking about logistics or organization, mix-up is the ideal choice, and the source applications were great.
A mix-up at the airport, ending up on the wrong flight.
A mix-up at the pharmacy with the wrong prescription.
Or a mix-up with invitations being sent to the wrong addresses.
In all those cases, the word just efficiently says organizational confusion happened. And let's see, move on.
Okay, so we have the story structure and the power words. Now for the real secret weapon of fluency.
The idioms and phrases, the conversational shortcuts.
Yes. These 8 phrases are what make conversations sound so effortless and natural. They show you grasp the cultural shorthand.
Let's start with lighten the mood. We saw it with a Flower Girls trip. It means to make the atmosphere more relaxed.
Right. Its function is emotional transition. It's used after tension to signal a positive collective shift. It implies there was a heaviness before.
And this action was like a release valve.
Perfectly put. And as we said, shared laughter is the most classic way to do it. It's the linguistic cue that says, okay, everyone can relax now.
Next up, head over heels, meaning to be completely deeply in love.
This one is intense. What's the difference between this and, say, madly in love?
That's a good question.
I think head over heels suggests you're so overwhelmed by affection that you've lost control. You're figuratively tumbling. It's the gold standard for describing passionate, visible, romantic adoration.
And it's efficient. In gossip, you don't have time for a poem. You need a phrase that immediately sets the emotional benchmark really high for that couple.
Exactly. It confirms a profound love that's obvious to everyone.
Okay, the life of the party. This was Tom, after his dancing.
This idiom assigns a social role of maximum value. When you call someone the life of the party, you're saying they're the essential ingredient for fun. They aren't just enjoying the event, they're generating the joy.
So does that mean they have to be loud and energetic? What if someone is just really witty but quiet? Can they be the life of the party?
That's an excellent question. And I'd say generally, no. The life of the party implies visibility and energetic output. They have to be dynamic dancing, telling stories like Tom busting out crazy moves. A quiet wit is charming, not the life of the party.
So it requires action and being center stage.
Got it.
Next, crisis averted.
We saw this with the wine spill. A disaster was successfully avoided.
This phrase has such a dramatic, almost theatrical flair. When you use it, you're signaling that the event had high stakes, even if they were just personal stakes.
And as we discussed, it elevates the drama playfully, but you have to be careful. If you use it for something truly minor, you might sound sarcastic.
Right. So, a ruined, stunning dress, yes. Finding the lost wedding ring, absolutely.
Waiting an extra minute for the elevator? Yo, it provides victorious closure in 2 punchy words.
Okay, then there's turned out perfect. Everything ended up being just right. This was the summary for the whole catering mess.
This phrase is indispensable. It lets the storyteller recount all the drama. The ring, the food, the dress, without leaving the listener with a negative feeling. It's like tying a difficult day up in a neat little bow.
It provides the definitive, happy conclusion. It tells the listener that the struggles were worth it in the end.
It manages expectations beautifully. You can spend 10 minutes on chaos, but if you end with it all turned out perfect, the lasting impression is one of success.
Okay, a simpler one. Trip down. To stumble or fall while walking. The flower girl tripped down the aisle.
It's straightforward, but the nuance is in the word down. We often use that when describing motion along a defined path. You trip down the stairs, trip down the street, trip down the aisle.
Is it different from just fall?
I think so. Trip down often implies your foot caught on something, causing the stumble. Fall is more generic. If you want to convey that awkward, momentary loss of balance, trip down is often the more precise choice.
Good distinction. Number 7, hit the right notes. We saw this with Rachel's touching speech.
Yes, meaning to say or do something that is exactly right. We analyze the musical metaphor, the precision, but where else can we use it?
Good question.
Think about moments that need perfect tact. A manager delivering bad news well. A friend giving the perfect advice. They hit the right notes. It suggests not just success, but intelligent, calibrated success.
So it implies skill, not luck.
Exactly. It implies conscious competence.
I'm finally busting out. Tom was busting out all these crazy moves.
Busting out conveys this high level of spontaneous, sometimes surprising, energy. The image is that something contained was suddenly released with force. Tom wasn't just dancing, he was erupting with energy.
And what else can you bust out? That's just for dancing, right?
That's a great question. No, it often applies to sudden, energetic actions. You can bust out some amazing facts in a trivia game. You can bust out a guitar solo. The key ingredients are the spontaneity and the energy, and often the element of surprise.
So it's a great way to communicate a burst of irrepressible fun.
I think that sums it up well. So after all this, we've analyzed a whole conversational scenario. We've extracted the structure of social gossip, 3 high-impact vocabulary words, and 8 essential phrases.
And the focus on how they're applied in context is really the fastest way to integrate this stuff and achieve real fluency.
That's the core takeaway. This vocabulary isn't just for defining events, it's about sharing the emotional journey.
With words like relieved or head over heels.
Giving an X-date assessment.
Like stunning, outdid, hit the right notes.
And providing that positive resolution.
With crisis averted and turned out perfect. When you start using these specific phrases, you stop just translating in your head and you start speaking fluently.
And think back to that last bit of gossip, the couple being head over heels, and the speculation about who might tie the knot next. It's fascinating how much social conversation relies on these established, evocative idioms. They're the language of milestones.
That's so true. We don't say execute the legal merger of 2 individuals.
Whoa.
We say tie the knot. We don't say they are intensely affectionate. We say head over heels. This figurative language is used for almost every major social event.
So we'd encourage you to start noticing that. In every conversation you hear, how many of these big social milestones, marriages, births, celebrations, are expressed using figurative language just like this?
So our challenge to you, the listener, is to integrate this knowledge right away. Pick one. Which one of these high-impact phrases will you try to use first?
Maybe crisis averted when you solve a small problem at work?
Or maybe describe someone as the life of the party this weekend. Start small, use them purposefully, and you'll feel your fluency grow almost instantly.
Keep applying that knowledge and keep looking for the nuance in every conversation.
Cheers to that. And cheers to more deep dives.